Learn that for the first time in my office or in a courtroom. That's insane. What other thing in the world, like anything else, any other contract, you would say, well, wait a minute, no one explained that to me. No one explained that to me. When I leased this car, no one explained to me that there's wear and tear. It doesn't say it anywhere in the contract, right? Okay, marriage contract doesn't say that. It doesn't say, oh, and by the way, you're opting out of the title system and your retirement assets and all these other things. And if there's any debts, and you could have enhanced earning capacity or celebrity goodwill that has to be valued by forensic accountants that'll cost you $100,000. No contract that says that. It just says, yep, we're getting married. It's 2 witnesses. We're good. Like, what other contract in the United States or anywhere has that lack of disclosure and is that binding? None. Zero. None.
Yo, it's your favorite celestial being in the flesh. My name is Earth Wind. This is Be Greater Podcast. And today on the docket, I got a 20-year divorce attorney by the name of James Sexton, absolutely sprinkling the world with jewels. So in the inspiration of being greater, it's only right that I bring it to you, right? You can tell from the intro, he's a very intellectual fella. He's seen the inside of many courtrooms over 20 years. He's had over 1,000 different couples. So that's over 2,000 people come in his office for litigation. He writes 5 to 6 prenups a month. So if a man knows anything about divorce, love, and happiness, I believe it would be this fella. So I'm going to say less. All I'm asking in advance is a like and subscribe, because I assure you, you will be mentally stimulated and entertained. So let me say less, and let's get into this video.
I think is great. Although I have to tell you, one of the most depressing divorces I ever did was a guy who was, I think, 92.
Oh, geez.
And what made it depressing is that he had left his wife of, 50-something, 60-something years for a younger woman, a woman in her 50s. And I just remember what was sad about it to me was this guy is still being led around by his dick. Like, I thought, oh my God, like, I'm going to be chained to an idiot forever. Like, I'm going to forever be led around by my dick. And I remember thinking, like, no, I really thought that at like 90-something, I would just, like, a beautiful woman would walk by and I go, oh, there's a human being. Like, there would be no...
You can appreciate it without...
Yeah, there would just be no sense of, like, yeah, there would just, that would be gone.
Slim walk pale.
And this guy's proof that 90-something years old and you're still
back
thinking
in my
of your
day,
like,
we're doomed.
That terrified me. It really did. It actually upset me because I thought, I thought at some point I'd get to experience what it's like to just be free.
You live in New York, where there's a financial industry. There's all kinds of industries here.
Oh yeah.
But to me, sometimes I wonder if female attractiveness isn't the highest valued commodity in our
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Because men are becoming rich and powerful in order to get a woman.
Of course.
The woman they want.
Of course. What an attractive...
Wars are fought over attractive women. Men are motivated to become billionaires for attractive women. Ain't no man trying to be rich so he can go home by himself and play Minecraft and Call of Duty. That's just not a thing. When a man get rich, he start looking further and farther. And like, listen, baby, you know what I'm saying? Excuse me, I need, woman's attraction is the number one commodity in the world right now. Wars are fought over it, and it's just facts. And they have the most power to sway the most powerful people. I'm just saying.
Woman. And when I say attractive, I don't just mean attractive. I mean even just sexually confident. I mean, what an unbelievably lucrative career that is. Like, I do divorces for people that, a woman walks out with $200-300 million. He was an analyst at Goldman Sachs who built a hedge fund and then sold it and then used his trading algorithm to build it up to $500 million. She was hot and slept with him for a while and then stopped and started sleeping with other people and playing tennis and having Botox, and she's going to get half. Like, that's fucking incredible. Like, do you know what he had to do to get that? And what she had to... I'll fuck that guy for $200 million. Are you kidding me? Like, that's insane. That's incredible. Like,
I like how he phrased that. He said, being beautiful is a lucrative career because you can just see in the world, there's so many beautiful women getting $20,000 a month because they had the privilege of laying down with the right man one time or marrying a man while this man brain has to be the foundation for a company that grossed him 100 million. He flipped it to 500 million. He got to give you half, while half the time you barely don't even want to lay down with him, and you out here playing tennis and doing your own life. That system is crazy. That's crazy. And that'll lead a lot of men feeling really discouraged, right? A lot of men self-deleting themselves. They don't really want to talk about that. Men leave that category, and this is one of the reasons. Could you imagine being a man, right? You marry a woman, and she work, you work. Not know she a stay-at-home mom, but you work, she work. And after 30 years, she get to take everything, half of everything, 401k, all of this stuff on the side that you did. They didn't have none of her input. That's crazy. But I'm gonna say let's get back into it. Let's get back into it.
You know, I mean, what's interesting is, first of all marriages end. They end in death or divorce, but they all end. Like every marriage ends. So it's one of the only things that you go, wow, I really hope this ends in us dying. You know, most things, that's not the desired outcome. But in marriage, you hope marriage will end in death. You hope that you will be together until one or both of you die. You know, but all marriages end.
But
so
as a guy, as a provider,
end.
If you knew it was going to end and you were going to have to give away half your money,
you
might think twice about doing it.
Well, I think that's what makes being a divorce lawyer interesting, is that it's a lot of what a court has to do is disregard what happened in the marriage, because the truth is at the bottom of a bottomless pit. Like, you're never going to get there. Yeah, well, he's fucking his secretary. Right, because you were not sleeping with me anymore. I have a client whose wife acknowledges she didn't sleep with him for 6 years.
Crazy.
What did you think was going on if you didn't sleep with him for 6 years? So delegate. You've delegated that responsibility. If you don't want to have sex with him, that's okay. No one should force you to have sex with this person. Let him go have sex with someone else. You don't want to do the laundry, hire someone to do the laundry. If you don't want to mow your own lawn, hire someone to mow the lawn. Delegate that responsibility. And this guy wasn't even sleeping around. He was going to those hand job places, you know, where you get a massage and get a hand. Like, the most pathetic thing in the world, the most innocuous thing in the world. He didn't have a girlfriend. There was no love involved. He was getting jacked off for $50. Like, that's sad. Like, I mean, first of all, hand jobs, like, that's an outdated technology. That's like a Betamax. You know, like, who even does that anymore? But he was doing this, and he just thought, okay, that's fine. She had the indignation to say he shouldn't be a custodial parent. He's a terrible person because he's doing this. And it was like, wait, how is that much different than going to a strip club? How is that much more different? Because we just, you know, he was like, well, should I deny it? And I was like, is it true? And he's like, well, yeah. I said, no, we should own it. Let's go in and say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's pathetic. It's really pathetic. My wife didn't sleep with me for 6 years, and I'm human. And I wanted to have sex still. I didn't want to blow up my life. I didn't want to screw up my kids and have my kids have divorced parents. So I thought, all right, she's clearly not interested in me anymore. I'm not going to have a girlfriend and get caught up in all the things where people could get hurt and there's feelings and fatal attraction and stuff. I'm just going to go. It'll be transactional, like going to a strip club or anything else. And is it a little pathetic that I'm a guy who makes $1 million a year in finance and I'm paying someone $50 to jack me off? Yeah, that's kind of pathetic, but you know what?
Listen. Could you fathom, fellas? You making $1 million a year. You making $1 million a year and you can't even get a spit shine from your woman. You gotta go pay some random $50 for a spit shine. And not even the proper spit shine. I'm talking about a hand wipe, right? You're gonna keep his PG-13. And you making $1 million a year. Your woman don't want to lay down with you for 6 years. And you making $1 million a year. And you don't even you're not even cheating, right? Like, that woman's so privileged. The amount of narcissism, unless he did something that was crazy, but if he did do something that was crazy, she should have left him. Like, deny a man that for that amount of time. Like they say, men wake up in the morning with a woody because that's testosterone, right? AKA hormones, right? And we're not allowed to live in our truth and like, yeah, baby, I got, you know what I mean? I got more testosterone, so, you know, I got to be able to knock it out every morning, just, you know what I'm saying, help my health. But let a woman, anything about their feelings or that time of the month, it's got to be understood, right? Narcissism 101. Don't fall for the traps. Don't fall for the traps. But listen, I'm going to keep going. But don't fall for the traps. I'm telling y'all.
This woman, we were sitting outside the courtroom waiting on a break in testimony. And she was a young woman in her probably like late 30s, you know, very attractive. And we were just chit-chatting, and I said to her, you know, was there a moment when you realized the marriage is over? You know, like, was there a moment? And she said, yeah. And I said, when was it? And she said, there was this granola that I like. She said, they only sold it at like this particular grocery store, and I like to put it in my yogurt. And she said he used to always, whenever I'd be running low on it, I would just open the thing one day and a new bag would be there. She's like, and she's like, it made me feel so loved. Like I didn't have to ask. He didn't want credit for it. Like he didn't go like, oh, did you see? I got your granola that you wanted.
Sound like a happy
he just would do this
right
thing,
there.
you know? And she said it was just something that like, it always made me smile. She said every time the granola was running low and there was a new bag of granola, I just felt very loved, you know? And she said one day the granola ran out. And I thought, oh, that's weird. You know, maybe he didn't see it. She's like, so I left the bag in there because I thought, well, at some point he'll notice. And he didn't notice. She goes, so I took the bag out and I waited and he didn't get a new bag. And I thought, okay, this thing's going down. And I thought to myself, wow, that's like, you know, that's such a small thing.
I say 80%
like granola.
of communication is nonverbal.
But these are the things. Like these are the little things that make us feel loved and that are gestures of love. And when I said to her, was there anything like that for you with him? And she said, yeah, blowjobs. And I almost spit out my coffee. And she goes, no. She goes, when we were first dating and even first married, she's like, I used to give him blowjobs a lot. She's like, you know, do it in the morning, took 2 minutes. And he was like super happy the rest of the day, you know? She's like, the rest of the day, he would like call me or text me and be like, oh, that was so good this morning. You know, I had such pep in my step now. And she's like, it was just like, what did it really take out of my life to do that? You know, and it made him feel good. She's like, and then I got to a point where I was like, well, you know what? No, I'll wait. And then tonight we can have sex and we'll both enjoy that. Like, what is, I owe him a blowjob? Like, no, you know, like I don't owe him that, you know? And then she said, I got to a point where it was like, I look back and I'm like,
And
yeah,
that's
I
going to
guess
start the cycle.
I didn't do that as often, hardly ever really, you know?
Which came first?
You know, I said that to her and she said, I couldn't tell you. She said, but I think it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
And I do think it's the same thing. And I'm not saying blowjobs and granola is all you need to know, but...
But like, listen, granola for blowjobs, excuse my French YouTube, in the grand scheme of things, is everybody happy? It's worth the trade-off. It's worth the trade-off. People be so willing to die on every mountaintop. Like you said, relationships become about, if I'm not happy, you can't be happy. It's not about no sacrifice no more. It's about, you got to feel what I feel. You got to go through what I go. If I'm down, you got to be down. And once it become that, the relationship is pretty much toast at that point in time. So I don't know, right? But listen, a whole lot of uneducated opinions, but I ain't done. I'm still, listen, if you have not hit the like button right now, do it for me, or at least do it for James Sexton, because he is absolutely dropping jewels and information that I feel like everybody can apply to their lives. It's the little things that can crumble a mountain. Right.
Learn that for the first time in my office or in a courtroom. That's insane. What other thing in the world, like anything else, any other contract, you would say, well, wait a minute, no one explained that to me. No one explained that to me. When I leased this car, no one explained to me that there's wear and tear. It doesn't say it anywhere in the contract,
Nope.
Right? Okay. Marriage contract doesn't say that. It doesn't say, you know, oh, and by the way, you're opting out of the title system and your retirement assets and all these other things. And if there's any debts, and you could have enhanced earning capacity or celebrity goodwill that has to be valued by forensic accountants that'll cost you $100,000. You don't, no contract that says that. It just says, yep, we're getting married. It's 2 witnesses. We're good. Like, what other contract in the United States or anywhere has that lack of disclosure and is that binding? None. Zero. None. So why a prenup? Yes, that's an awkward conversation, I guess. I don't know that it has to be.
It shouldn't
and I have
be.
to tell you, the more awkward of a
It really
conversation it is, the
shouldn't
more
be.
you should think twice about getting married. Because if you can't have a conversation with this person
Listen,
about the possibility that someday one or both of you might hurt each other, like, how many people,
Listen.
while they're still happy and in love, say something like, you know, babe, I love you, but we're going to disagree about something at some point.
what's going to happen?
And when we do, how do you like to fight? Like, do you need a minute? Like, do you need like to be alone for a minute so you can kind of calm down? Or are you the like, hey, we got to figure this out and we can't go to bed angry? Like, because let's talk about that now while we're not in a fight. Like, let's talk about it now while we still get along and we're happy and we're trying to figure out how to navigate each other. It's hard enough to navigate yourself. I want to navigate another human being. Why don't we have that conversation now? But no, we don't. We learn on the job.
We learn how to fight in the fight, right? We learn how to fight in the fight. We're learning on the job. I've never in my life, I'm just going to sit here and be honest, when and ask a woman, like, how do you like to argue, or how do you like to, that's such a healthy conversation, especially if it's somebody that you're planning on spending significant time with. Like, listen, when you get mad, do we got to like crush this right now because you can't go to sleep mad? Or do you need to go to sleep and we talk about it in the morning? Like, let me know so I don't, me trying to figure out a situation cause a whole nother situation, because clearly we showing lack of communication skills already that we even in this situation, right? So it's a way to stop the snowball from getting bigger. Because honestly, like I'm saying, man, listen, most people just don't know how to communicate. That's why things go so over the top. That's why so many people in jail. That's why so many people broken up. That's why so many people give up, because it's like they don't know how to communicate. Communication is key to everything, right? You know, it's the key to everything. But we gonna keep tuning in with James Sexton because he is dropping bombs. So why stop?
Other person, you know, and I mean, I think I'm a romantic at heart in the sense that I really get it. Like, I really get why we do this. I felt it, I know it, I understand it. But tying that to the technology of marriage to me makes almost no sense whatsoever. And I actually think it's almost antagonistic to that connection with another person, because there's so much expectation that comes with marriage culturally. We've created so much stuff around it. Like, when you marry someone, they're supposed to be, at least in the modern Western model, your best friend, best roommate, best co-parent, best travel partner, best roommate, best everything, best activity partner. Like, how would one person be all of those things? That's insane. Like, if I was interviewing for a job and said, I want you to be the best typist, and I also want you to be best on the phone, and I also want you to be great at that, and I ran down a list of dissimilar things, like, or if I went to an amazing chef and I said, I know you're a great chef, but can you farm? Like, well, that has to do with food, but they're not the same thing. Like, what are you talking? So I think, why do we put
so much pressure on people instead of just accepting people to be who they are in the role that they was designated to be? We put unrealistic expectations on people, and then we get disappointed. And it's the only thing that's going to happen. Only thing that's going to happen when you put unrealistic expectations, you got to be my source of happiness, joy, the reason I smile, the reason I cry, entertainment. You got to keep me up. You got to be my best cook, best friend. That's a lot. That's a lot. And there's very few relationships out there where somebody would say that that's true. And I sent the clip to, I believe it was Jordan Sexton. He said, if you can go every relationship that lasted 60 years, every single relationship that lasted 60 years, I guarantee you there was a red flag somewhere that somebody overlooked.
Here's the thing about red flags, guys, and everybody needs to understand this. None of y'all understand this shit. When a marriage lasts 50 years until one of them dies and it's a successful marriage, that marriage contained multiple quote unquote red flags. Listen to what I'm telling you. Every single relationship contains countless red flags. The only time people bring up red flags is when the relationship ends. Do y'all understand that? It's only when they end, everybody's like, oh, well, you should have saw this or you should have saw that. Like, nigga, I did see it. But if we got married and we held the marriage together and we loved each other despite those red flags, nobody would be talking about it.
Nobody is perfect, right? Nobody is perfect. And if you out here trying to find perfection, good luck to you on your life endeavors, as they may say.
Really leverage that the right way.
I asked you earlier if you believe in love, which you said you do. Do you believe in marriage?
I mean, I believe people believe in marriage.
No, but do you?
Yeah. Do I believe in marriage? I don't. I don't think it's a useful technology. I understand culturally why people do it, but I don't think people should need it. I know I certainly don't need marriage. I don't think marriage... I was married. I was married before I really ever thought about what does that mean. You know, I married my college sweetheart. You know, I got married because that's what you do. You get married, you know. But I hadn't thought about it as a technology and why it's there. I didn't understand it the way I do now. You know, there's a line from a Joseph Brodsky poem that he wrote when his wife died, where he says, "I wish I knew no astronomy when stars appear." And I feel that way as a divorce lawyer. Like, I wish I knew no astronomy when stars appear. I wish I didn't know what the end of so many marriages looks like, because
I wish I didn't know no astronomy when the stars appeared. Basically what he's saying is, I wish I didn't know what was up there. I wish I was just still wondering. He feel like he's jaded because he's seen so many relationships end in the end route, right? And truth be told, I am pro-marriage. I'm also pro-prenup. I ain't got no money for you to take, so I might not even get one. But listen, for the dudes who do got it, you just got to be smart. You know, understand the person that you're with. If you're dealing with a person that you can't even have certain conversations with, that right there is a red flag. That shows a lack of communications, and it's going to be impossible for relationships to go for a long time. It's good if there's communication problems. It's just unless somebody doing a whole lot of sacrifice, right? That's the only way a relationship where poor communication can go to long term is if one of the people or both persons is doing a whole lot of sacrifice. It's supposed to be sacrificing in a relationship, but at the end of the day, it still need to be two healthy people coming together to try to make each other's lives better, right? But what do I know? I'm just a young celestial being who was raised by two healthy adults who I have the privilege to watch and understand and see a woman somehow be a boss and be feminine. I seen the father be masculine and they still together, and that's all I know. So when my mother asks me, like, man, Earth, why you ain't listen, mama, I be like telling her the same thing. Like, you set the bar so high that like my expectations as far as what is in this real world, man, it'd be two different things, but there's some potentials out there. I ain't gonna lie, but listen, I'm your favorite celestial being. I'm gonna go cut it right here. This is Be Greater Podcast. If you made it this far, man, salute and gratitude. I like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, man, y'all know the vibes, man. Be greater. What's up? What's up? What's up? I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in to Be Greater Podcast. It's your boy Earthwind. I just want to say please hit the subscribe button and salute to everybody that's rocking with me.